October 7th wasn't just the beginning of a larger conflict for Israel against Palestinians. It also marked a pivotal moment that reshaped the Middle East and its balance of power. Following Hamas's surprise attack on the occupied territories surrounding the Gaza Strip and Israel's subsequent widespread offensive, the region changed dramatically. Netanyahu is like Adolf Hitler, and Israel's actions in Gaza are like those of the Nazis. This stark statement came from Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan, and it's just one of many sharp criticisms he's leveled against Israel recently. Amidst the rapid-fire events post-October 7th, a particular rivalry, more pronounced than ever before, came into sharper focus. The Israel-Turkey dynamic, or more precisely, the Erdoğan-Netanyahu dichotomy. This became even more evident after the collapse of Bashar al-Assad's regime in Syria. Unlike some other regional players, such as Iran or pre-Assad Syria, Turkey has never been a sworn enemy of Israel. In fact, they've historically maintained long-standing diplomatic and commercial ties. So what's causing this apparent clash? Is this animosity new, or does it have deeper roots? And most importantly, is this rivalry confined solely to disagreements over the Gaza issue? It's well known that Erdoğan's foreign policy and that of his AK party are rooted in what's termed Neo-Ottomanism. This refers to a desire to revive the former glory of the Ottoman Empire through present-day Turkey, extending its influence into former Ottoman territories. Turkey's presence in some of these regions has been a sensitive point for Israel, which for years has pursued the dream of Greater Israel in its geopolitical strategies. One such sensitive area is Lebanon. In recent years, Turkey has been subtly expanding its influence in Lebanon, particularly in the northern city of Tripoli and its surrounding areas. For over a decade, Ankara has developed its soft power infrastructure disguised as humanitarian aid in northern Lebanon. However, Ankara's influence in Lebanon isn't limited to soft power. It's also focused on controlling strategic Lebanese infrastructure. Key projects include efforts to transform the port of Tripoli into a logistics hub for transferring Turkish goods to Syria and potentially Iraq, as well as attempts to control the underutilized Bedawi refinery, which could provide Turkey with a strategic share in Eastern Mediterranean energy. But this competition isn't confined to Israel's immediate neighbors. Israel's influence in Iraq, especially in the Kurdistan region, dates back to the 1940s and 50s. Israel maintains close ties with the Kurdistan Democratic Party, the Barzani family. Conversely, the Barzani family's relations with Turkey significantly strengthened from the early 2010s. The illicit presence of the YPG, People's Protection Units, in Iraq and the Erbil government's silence regarding Turkish airstrikes against PKK, Kurdistan Workers' Party. Positions indicate the Barzani family's acquiescence to this situation, as well as Turkey's efforts to counter Israeli and Iranian influence. While the Patriotic Union of Kurdistan, PUK, is aligned with Iran and the central Iraqi government, which is close to Tehran, Barzani serves as a balancing point, managing simultaneous influence for both Ankara and Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv's influence in Iraqi Kurdistan is seen as a major threat by Turkey, given its proximity to Turkey, the large Kurdish population within Turkey, and their connections to Kurds in Syria and Iraq. But Kurdistan isn't the only place where both Turkey and Israel have a significant presence, seeking to weaken Iran's influence. Iran's northern neighbor, Azerbaijan, under Ilham Aliyev, has also become another arena for influence and competition between them. For Turkey, this region offers significant transit and oil/gas economic interests, while for Israel, its importance lies in creating a potential threat on Iran's doorstep. Another stage for the Turkey-Israel rivalry is the Mediterranean. In recent years, energy competition in the Eastern Mediterranean has heightened tensions among Turkey, Israel, Egypt, and Greece. Israel is attempting to connect its energy routes to Europe, bypassing Turkey, through cooperation with Egypt and Greece. Turkey, however, opposes this. Ankara not only refuses to recognize the maritime border agreements between Israel, Egypt, and Cyprus, but also seeks to solidify its influence over energy resources and gas transmission lines in the Eastern Mediterranean through its Blue Homeland doctrine. Turkey asserts the rights of Turkish Cypriots to these resources by conducting drilling operations off the coast of Turkish-controlled Cyprus. Furthermore, Turkey's 2019 agreement with Libya's government of national accord defined a new exclusive economic zone in the Mediterranean, effectively undermining Greece's maritime claims and stalling the East Med pipeline project. Overall, the competition for Eastern Mediterranean gas has transformed into a sensitive geopolitical arena, increasing the likelihood of direct confrontation between Turkey and Israel. But perhaps the most overt arena for the rivalry between the two countries is Syria. After years of conflict, something nobody imagined happened. Bashar al-Assad's regime collapsed. Turkey, under the leadership of Recep Tayyip Erdoğan, initiated a different kind of game. Instead of direct military intervention, it utilized a proxy force. Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, HTS, which emerged from Jabhat al-Nusra, the al-Qaeda affiliate in Syria, with Turkish backing, seized key areas of Syria. Damascus fell. Hezbollah retreated from Syrian territory. Iran and its allies were marginalized. And ultimately, Erdoğan, without firing a direct shot, gained control of Syria, arguably the most crucial piece in the puzzle of his imperial revival dream. But this wasn't the end of the story. Israel, which had previously focused on confronting the axis of resistance, now found itself facing a Turkey that was actively filling the power vacuum. In just 2 days, Israel conducted 500 airstrikes and occupied approximately 460 square kilometers of Syrian territory. Ankara, for its part, carried out several military operations aimed at creating a 30-kilometer deep buffer zone in northern Syria to prevent the formation of an autonomous Kurdish region along its borders. Turkey also aims to implement a project to transfer gas from Qatar to Europe via Syrian and Turkish territory. If realized, this would strengthen Ankara's position as a regional energy hub. Additionally, establishing military bases in locations like Palmyra, besides enhancing Turkey's operational capabilities in Syria, allows it to directly monitor political and military developments in its neighboring country. Conversely, Tel Aviv established close ties with the Druze minorities in the south and the Kurds in eastern Syria, both to prevent the central government from regaining power and to secure its desired buffer zones near the occupied Golan Heights. Tel Aviv's support for SDF forces and Druze groups directly contradicts Ankara's anti-Kurdish policy. Another point of contention between the parties is the so-called David's Corridor, an Israeli-backed strategic route connecting southern Syria to Kurdish areas. Turkey is concerned about this corridor, as it could strengthen Israel's geopolitical access to Iraq and Syrian Kurdistan. Currently, Syria is unofficially divided into 4 parts. Turkey controls the north, HTS the center, SDF the east, and Israel the south. Many Syrians who believe Bashar al-Assad's fall would mark the end of dictatorship in their country now view Syria as an arena for 2 ambitious dreams. We must wait and see which plan ultimately prevails in Syria and other disputed areas: the revival of the Ottoman Empire or Greater Israel.